What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Due to Bet Daily. We've got a new week coming at you, and what a week it is. We have one more weekend of Del Mar, but the big story here, we are kicking off NFL season tomorrow night with the champion Los Angeles Rams playing at home to celebrate their championship. It's going to be a fun weekend. We're going to talk a little bit about the NFL as we get into this. Then we'll jump into a Colonial race and then go through the best bets. Thank you very much for joining us back here on Due to Bet Daily. Got both the Haltermans with me. And let's just jump into the NFL real quick here. One of the big storylines, one of the keys to week one, we've got 10 home dogs. Generally, this is one of the best performing trends that you've seen in the NFL. When a home team is an underdog, they usually, well, not usually, but they cover at a better rate than almost any other underdog. We saw today the news that Joe Flacco will be starting for the Jets. That pushed the line out to 7.5 for the Jets there. We thought we could jump in and kick this week off with talking about home underdogs that we think can win outright, because there are quite a few that are live here in this spot. So let's start with you, Aaron. Who do you like this week as a home dog?
Let's go to the opening game of the season. I really like the Rams plus 2.5. I don't understand why the Rams are underdogs in this spot. Maybe somebody can explain it to me. The last time I checked, they won the Super Bowl. They've got a lot of their guys back from that Super Bowl win. They were pretty darn good at home. It's the opening game, and I think that favors them as well. I know the Bills are very good. I think the Bills are definitely a Super Bowl contender, but I think that line is a little wonky. So I like the Rams plus the 2.5 tomorrow night. I don't think they should be underdogs in that spot.
Yeah, it's interesting to see the Super Bowl champ open up as an underdog. The Bills, obviously the most hyped team right now in the NFL. I think they just showed like the Pro Football Now expert picks from NFL Network, and all 6 of them picked the Buffalo Bills to win the Super Bowl. And that's wild to me considering how difficult the AFC is here. Papa Dude, what do you think of tomorrow night's game? Do you agree with Aaron? Do you think the Rams have a good shot at pulling off the upset?
Well, I sat down and I listed when Aaron texted me and said this is what we were going to do. I listed I've got like 6 that I think could. I mean, there's a lot of good betting here. I've got it ranked as 3rd on my list of an upset. So obviously, yes, Aaron makes perfect sense. Why are the Rams suddenly not any good? I don't. Why are they? They are the defending champions. I guess people consider it a fluke that they won. I don't know. Maybe because Buffalo didn't get into the Super Bowl last year. Maybe that's part of it. And everybody is favoring the Bills, and I like them too. I mean, I think they've got a shot, but you make a great point, Mike. The AFC is loaded. Yeah. Whoever comes out of that is going to have to get a break or two somewhere. So, yeah, I agree. I'll go to mine, and this one is kind of a weird one, but I wish Magic was on. I don't like the Eagles very well, and I think Detroit is improving. If this was in the middle of the season, we might get a better idea. But I think Detroit's going to be ready for this game. I really do. It's at home. The Eagles are so-so, and I just think Detroit's going to win this game. The Eagles are 4-point favorites. I'm not sure the Lions cover. But the money line, I think I would go with them. I think they're going to win this game. So I like that one. That's my best one.
Yeah, I think the Lions are interesting as well. Obviously, adding Hutchinson on the defensive line really bolsters up their run defense as well as their pass rush, 2 things that they were lacking last year. So that's a big-time pickup at the top of the draft for them. They have a ton of players that are also progressing very well. Amon St. Brown's one that just jumps into mind. That it had a big rookie year last year, should take a nice step forward here second year. Not a big Goff fan, but I'll tell you, I don't like Hurts any more than I like Goff. So for me, this is a quarterback neutral matchup, a coaching neutral matchup. And so I don't really see an advantage on either side of there. And I think that Detroit's going to be rocking. That stadium is going to be going nuts. They feel like they have a shot at actually being decent this year. They're one of the public teams that have caught some steam. Ironically, there's 2 of them. The Eagles really have been one that's been catching some steam recently with everything that's been going on in in Dallas as well, and seeing the divisional odds flip there from Dallas being a prohibitive favorite to being almost neck and neck between the Eagles and the Cowboys now. Kind of brings into the next point here. We talked about how there's 10 dogs at home. 3 of those 10 are playing in the night games, Thursday night, Sunday night, and Monday night. That is a bad recipe for public bettors in general. These games are usually covered by those home dogs when they do have that opportunity. Aaron, do you want to talk a little bit about that Buccaneers-Cowboys game? I know that's another one that jumped out at you on Sunday night.
Well, I think these are two teams. One team, it's highly publicized. The Cowboys, they always get all the attention, and they live in a bubble, as Papa Dude and I have talked about on the sports show a lot. It's just like, man, every little move that's talked about. So we know all about them. The team for me that could be a low-key team that could implode is Tampa Bay. I don't know what's going on with Brady. He's acting really odd.
Yes.
His last press conference, guy didn't look very well. I mean, I'm not even trying to be funny when I say that. Like, he didn't look very good. I don't know what's his deal. No. If he doesn't play well, or he's not, his heart's not in it. Let's say, I don't even want to go as far as not play well. It's hard to predict that he wouldn't, but they could really implode. I'm not sure they're very good if he doesn't do his thing. I think the Cowboys, even though they've got some issues, I think +2.5 Sunday night. We don't really know what's going on with Tom Brady in Tampa. I think the Cowboys have got a shot to win that game outright on Sunday night.
Yeah, I hate betting on Mike McCarthy. It always gives you some heart attacks because, man, he cannot manage the clock for the life of him. I mean, just look at the playoff game where they literally run out the clock on themselves to eliminate themselves from the playoffs. Yeah. But I mean, I think Dallas is a regression team this year, but this is a spot where I kind of like Dallas as well. I mean, they had a lot of turnover luck last year, specifically Diggs with his 11 interceptions. That's wild. Like, you're not repeating that. You look at the top interceptors every year, it's in the 4 and 5 and 6 range, let alone double digits. But Tampa Bay's offensive line is absolutely been destroyed in the preseason. And one thing that Brady needs is time. He doesn't move well. And so if he's got great pocket presence, but man, if you start putting the pressure on him, that's when things start to fall apart, especially when you can do it with just the front four. That's what we've seen New Orleans successfully do. If they're able to do that against Brady and the Bucs, could be a long night here, especially since the Cowboys offense should be able to put up a couple of points. So I agree with you, Aaron. I think that's an interesting one. The Monday night game, we've got Russell Wilson heading back to Seattle, which is definitely going to be a storyline. That number is up to 6.5 at this point. I'd be shocked if it's not 7 by kickoff. If you want the 6.5, bet it early because this one's going to take a lot of money on the Broncos side. I think the Seahawks are in the conversation for worst record in the NFL. Their lineup or their roster is atrocious. I mean, they have one good room, that's the receivers room. But man, the quarterbacks, Geno Smith winning the job over Drew Lock doesn't exactly mean that you're going to be able to get the ball to the wide receivers. Right. Do you guys have any interest in playing this? This is probably going to be the most heavily teased game of the weekend as well. You're going to see a ton of people take this game down from 6.5 to a half point.
I can't play it, I don't think. No. Seattle's is too unknown. And if you got receivers, that's fine. But if you can't get the ball to them, it doesn't matter. So I'm not that high on Denver. Some people are. But I am not. I'm not sure Russell Williams has got a lot left. I don't know. We're going to see. The line's kind of high, and I know this Seattle will play hard, but how are they going to score? I just don't. I don't think I'd touch that one. I really don't.
Yeah, that is the key. It's how is Seattle going to score? This is one where I'm really interested in playing the in-game bets. If I can get Denver under a field goal first half at some point during the first half, that would be something I'd be interested in. They're 3.5 right now for the first half. But to me, this is a great game to in-game bet because I do think Denver is a significantly better team. And if for some reason Seattle starts out well at home, I think that Denver is going to be able to come back. And if you can get a better line in the middle of the game, I think it's a good way to attack this one.
What's the under on that one?
44 right now.
Yeah.
Well, that sounds like if I was going to bet it, I'd go under 44 because I don't think Seattle's going to score 10. Yeah, and I don't think Denver's going to be a great offensive team either. So I think I'd take the under in that.
Now, to jump in on Denver for a second, you've got to think they're going to be vastly improved offensively, though. You're talking about the guy that's been starting at quarterback for them for off and on throughout the last couple of years, could not beat out Geno Smith in Seattle.
Yeah.
I don't care if Russell Wilson is 50% of what he was. He's got to be better than that, right? So,
well, yeah, but to beat 44, they're going to have to score 35.
Yeah. Right. Well, you're right.
If you're interested in that, Papa Dude, one thing you might want to look at is a team total as well. A 44 line, you could probably see a team total between 17 and 19 points for Seattle, and you could play Seattle total points under. And that might be a great way to attack that game because if you're specifically saying, okay, we want to fade the Seattle offense, we're going to probably run the ball quite a bit. Yeah. And Denver's got a decent defense, specifically in the secondary. So you could definitely fade the Seahawks here by just taking that team total under and probably get it somewhere in that 17-point range.
Yeah, you're right.
That's smart.
Absolutely.
For my game, I'm going to go to a division rival matchup here, and I'm going to take the Vikings at home against the Packers for a couple reasons. First off, Is there a more important game in week 1 for the home team here? I mean, the Vikings have to win this game if they want to win the division. You can't lose to the Packers at home and then expect to be able to come back and win the division. So for me, the Vikings are going to be highly motivated. I love the coaching change. I mean, the Vikings they needed to get new, fresh voice in that room. I think they've done that. This is one of the toughest places to play in the country. The Vikings offense should be absolutely humming. So I'm going to go with the Vikings. And I think Zadarius Smith switching from Green Bay to Minnesota really switched the power inside that division. And on top of it, if we were expecting there to be any trouble from an offensive perspective for the Packers with this new wide receivers unit, it's early in the season, right?
Exactly.
And so I'm gonna say game 1, the Packers are a little bit slower than they will be later in the season on offense. It's an absolute must-win for the Vikings, which is wild to say, but it is. We've got a nice home field advantage, and I think the Vikings will be able to put up some points here.
Yeah. One more I'd throw out there if anyone's interested in. How about the Chiefs, 6-point favorites at Arizona? What do you guys think on that one? That's a lot of points.
I'm really happy I bet this at 3 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And I don't understand why it's changed either. I don't understand why it's an extra 3 points here. There's not been any injury news. This is just money moving. And there's been a couple games where you've seen these money moves, specifically the Chiefs. The Dolphins game makes no sense to me. The Dolphins were -2.5 for months. And now it's -3.5. And that's through a key number. Both were very confusing to me. What do you think of those two, Aaron?
Well, listen, I think when you look at what Arizona has done the last couple of years, and specifically what Kyler Murray has done the last couple of years, they start the season well, and he starts the season well.
Yeah.
This is week 10. Maybe you take the Chiefs side, but I think the Chiefs are questionable this year. I don't think they're bad, but I don't think they're going to be quite as good. You talked about McCarthy. You hate to bet him. I hate to bet Cliff Kingsbury. That's the bad problem there. The coaching mismatch on this is about as wide as you're going to see all year in the NFL. Yeah. I happen to think Cliff Kingsbury is the worst coach in the NFL. I think if he was still in college, he would probably be in the bottom 100. I think he's awful as a head coach. So that's my problem there, because I think Andy Reid obviously is very good. I don't think you guys are going to argue that. He's solid. But yeah, I would probably lean Cardinals plus the points.
Yeah.
I don't think they'll win, but I think it's going to be a tight game.
Yeah.
I agree with you totally on Kingsbury. He got fired at Texas Tech. I mean,
with Patrick Mahomes as quarterback.
5-7 with Patrick Mahomes.
Exactly.
At Texas Tech.
And it's not like the wide receiver sucked, or Mahomes made they had made his talent leap either. He was good in college. They just could not stop anybody. That leads me to kind of liking the over a little bit here. It's 53.5. It's a big total. But the Chiefs, to me, their secondary is a lot more questionable than it was last year, and it wasn't exactly stellar last year. You mentioned Kyler Murray early in the season. Before he gets banged up, he's elite. But he eventually gets banged up. So he gets a twisted ankle, a bum knee, something happens to him. All of a sudden, his scrambling ability drops, and that's when you see this Cardinals team really start to struggle. That's why you've consistently seen them fall off the last 2 years after 6 to 8 games. It's because Murray's getting hurt, and that kind of just creates some chaos there. So to me, I maybe the first half over, maybe the full game over, but I think there's going to be some points here. I actually think Kansas City's offense is going to be very good this year. I like their offseason moves and the adjustments they made to the way defenses were playing them. Everyone went in a too high shell. They spent the offseason picking up, look, Tyreek Hill, it sucks to lose him. But Juju Smith-Schuster is a better underneath receiver than Tyreek Hill is. Tyreek Hill blows the top off of defense. Juju Smith-Schuster is a possession receiver. You need possession receivers who are able to move the chains, get 10, 15 yards at a time against too high safeties to be able to consistently move the football. So I like some of those moves. Aaron?
My only rebuttal to what you just said is they don't have that guy that people are going to fear to go deep now. So now defense will adjust to that.
The defense will adjust, yeah.
You're not wrong at all, but losing that deep downfield threat, what will that do to him is the big question mark.
Yep, I agree. But I will always rather spend my money on the offensive line than signing someone like Tyreek Hill for $35 million. And that's where they put that money to use. And so hopefully that gives the other receivers time to be able to take the top off. And if you give Patrick Mahomes 10 seconds, 7 seconds, I watch out. I mean, it's gonna be rough. I also think he's got a chip on his shoulder this year. He keeps hearing about Josh Allen, this Buffalo Bills team. I think there's a little bit of what about me, and I think they're pretty pissed about how that AFC title game went as well.
Well, I do too. I saw the other day where he was ranked, 5th best quarterback in the NFL or something. Come on, that's insanity. The guy, everybody around here go, he sucked last year. He killed the Chiefs. Well, look at his statistics. They weren't too bad. I think most teams would take Patrick Mahomes. You know,
I would bet 32 of 32 would take Patrick Mahomes as their quarterback.
absolutely.
I don't. If you had a redraft, I bet he's going first in almost every single one of those redrafts.
Oh, there's no question.
I doubt GMs would admit that, but I bet he is going first in almost every one of those redrafts. All right, let's jump over to Colonial Downs real quick. We're going to talk about the 8th race. We wanted to get some horse racing in here, and I like the bomb of a price in this spot. Colonial's card's interesting. We got 4 stakes races, all $100,000+. This one's for state-bred fillies. It's the Nellie Mae Cox. Aaron, where did you end up going on top here?
I'm going to give the number 6 Urban Fairy Tale another shot. I know last time out she was beaten by the favorite here, Mo Claire's, who is the favorite today. But I think Urban Fairy Tale kind of turns the tables in this spot. Let's not forget that horse was 2-5, was really bet down hard. It didn't run bad, just got beat, fair and square. But sometimes in these lower Virginia bred stakes races, you're going to see him kind of trade off wins. I think Urban Fairy Tale kind of bounces back today and gets the job done. So I'm taking the 6, trying to beat the favorite here with a little bit of a price.
I actually like this. I almost played the 6 as my best bet of the day. And I was the one who picked this race because I liked 2 horses in it. The 6, Urban Fairy Tale, was one of them. At 9-2, I think is very generous on that horse. We'll see what you get. The Colonial morning lines can be a little bit off from time to time. We'll just put it that way and be nice about it. I'm really interested in the 1 horse, Malibu Curl, and this is the reason I picked this race. 15-1 on the morning line. I don't think we're getting 15-1 on this horse, but man, everything lines up for me here. And one of the key reasons, I've talked about this horse on the Magic Mike show, Finest Work, who ran 2nd in Malibu Curl's last race, has been a key horse in New York for almost all summer. Won 2 races at Belmont, produced multiple winners behind him when he won both of those races, or when she won both of those races. Then came back and ran 2nd to Marvelous Maud, who went into a graded stakes. The 3rd place finisher set the pace and then faded against Better next time out. The 4th place finisher in that race won back. It was also the first time on turf last time for Malibu Curl. And this is a Curlin out of a Malibu Moon horse, which they tried at the upper tier stakes level early on in her career, lost to Malafat, in fact, in the Damsel over at Aqueduct. So the fact that we're getting 2nd time on turf, I think this is almost a little bit of a sneaky class drop, or at least even field. If we can improve off of that last number, Malibu Curl makes a ton of sense at 15-1 in this field. I actually like the 6-1 exact if you want to go that far and box them up and see if we can get a big time price home. Did you like Malibu Curl at all, Aaron?
Well, I didn't have the horse in the top 4, but I can see where you could make a case for this one. By the way, a lot of bombs won yesterday at Colonial Downs. So, this is kind of the way to go maybe this week at that track. You're right. It looked like they liked this horse an awful lot. They tried the dirt. I really think they tried the turf last time out as just a desperation. Like, let's just see if we've got anything. Maybe she'll wake up. I thought it was a sneaky good race as well. 2nd on the turf, like you said, and a big rider upgrade. Irad was winning like crazy yesterday there. So I don't hate it. I don't hate it whatsoever. And like I said, 2nd time on the turf, sometimes they will improve. And let's not, mince words here. She's in a Virginia bred stakes out of an open allowance, I should say, at Saratoga. That's a class drop. So at the price, I'm not going to talk you off of her.
We're also adding blinkers back, which I think is interesting. We took them off for that first race, and we're putting them back on here so that they believe that she's going to improve with those blinkers, although I wasn't inspired by her 2 blinker races prior. But there's definitely some feeling there that she's going to run big. You want to say anything else there, Aaron? Or you want to
I'm just going to say something here to Michael because he asked Curlin on the turf, Mike. And here's the deal. If you said that before the race last time when she tried it for the first time, I would say, yeah, I'm not sure. You saw it. It wasn't great, but it wasn't awful. So now what does it really matter, right? You saw him run on the turf. Like, you have a data point. I get when you have no other data point, you look at breeding and you're like, I'm not sure about that. Then when you have that data point, does it really matter at that point? Like, we saw what the horse could do, right?
You definitely downgrade the breeding once you have a couple data points, right? And to me, like, look, the 2 scratched out, No Mo Lady. Malibu Curl's 79 buyer last time out is the 2nd highest buyer entering this race on the turf. So she doesn't even need to improve that much to be able to be effective here. And I think you said it well. $100,000 N1X allowance at Saratoga dropping into a state-bred Virginia a stakes race. it's at worst parallel. It probably is a class drop. So,
yeah.
I mean, to me, it's one of those spots where if we get 15-1, I'd be shocked. I think you're getting 4 or 5-1 on this horse, to be very clear. I think she's a good price at that bet, or good bet at that price as well. I do like your 6 as well, too. I think that last time out, she needs a little pace in front of her. Horse that went gate to wires back here is going to face more pressure, specifically from the 12. Should sit a good trip. So the 1 and the 6, I think, are the two standouts here.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, let's jump into some best bets here. We are going all over the place. I'll start out with mine since I'm getting a little funky. I'm pulling a magic here, and I am headed to the U.S. Open. This match, first serve here, is at 115, possibly 130, depending on. It's in Arthur Ashe Court, and Francis Tiafoe is going to be facing Andrei Rublev. Okay, now Tiafoe is a U.S. player. He's about 24 years old. He's not nearly as experienced, but he just knocked off Rafa Nadal, had a huge home court advantage here. He'll have a big-time crowd cheering for him again. Rublev is better. He's ranked 9 in the world. Tiafoe is 24, so you got an edge on the Rublev side there. They faced twice before. They've split those two matchups. Last year they faced in the U.S. Open, went 5 sets, went way over the total for 40.5 games. I think the crowd here really helps Tiafoe. I think that's why he wins at least 1, if not 2 sets. I like Rublev in 5 if you want to get frisky, because that's 5.5 to 1, plus 550 on Bookmaker last I checked. But I really like the over 40.5 games. I think that's where the edge here is. I think this is going to be a very close match. I think that the home crowd is going to help the underdog in this spot to be able to extend the match out as well. And we don't need to go 5 sets. We can cover this in 4. So give me over 40.5 games today in the quarterfinal over at Flushing Meadows. Papa Dude, what are your U.S. Open thoughts?
I've been sitting here trying to think of something clever to say. I'm just going to say this. If I ever get to where I'm betting tennis, I want somebody to take a gun and hit me right there, because I have lost my freaking mind.
Okay, let me back it up. What does that mean, 40.5 games? What does that mean?
The total games played in the match. So if the
what's considered a game? Because to me, the game is like they're playing.
So if the first set, and so in the U.S. Open, you play best of 5 sets. First to win 3 sets. If the first set is 6-4, that's 10 games. And the second set is 7-5. Now we're at 22 games.
Okay.
So to go over 40.5, you most likely have to have a close match, right? You're generally seeing 6-3, 6-4, 6-5, 7-5, 7-6 sets in this level of the tournament. They went 5 sets last time. I think they're going 5 again today. And that gets over this total pretty easily.
Is this televised today?
ESPN 1:30.
Okay.
Go.
I'm giving you afternoon entertainment on a Wednesday. What more could you ask for? Come on.
I'm gonna go outside and sit on the deck and watch it.
That would be the other reason I wouldn't bet tennis. I'd have to watch it. That would be great.
The tennis slander is not acceptable, Papa Dude. Tennis is actually a lot of fun to bet. I know some people who just...
Well, it may be. I'm just not going to do it. That's fine. Now, I will say this, Mike. I should have bet tennis today, because my bet, I dug and dug and dug, because here's the thing. I hope everybody understands. I'm trying to find something that might happen that has some value.
Right.
Okay. I'm not just betting something I think, trying to find something we can make some money on. So my bet today is a real, I just couldn't find much today. So I'm going to go with the Padres against Arizona tonight. And I'm hoping they can beat them by 2, which they're going to have to do. I have some confidence in this. Tommy Henry's going for the D-backs. So things bother me about the D-backs. They're playing great. San Diego came back and beat them last night. I'm banking this on San Diego's in the middle of a big chase for a playoff spot, and it means so much more to them. And they had Yu Darvish pitching, who shut the Dodgers out for 7 innings, allowing only 2 hits last time out, where Tommy Henry got rocked in his last outing. So I like this one, and I'm going to go ahead with San Diego because of the value. If we can get them home tonight, we're going to make some money on this one. So that's where I'm going with this game.
Yeah, I didn't go to the U.S. Open as a first choice, Papa Dude. We'll put it that way. It's because I agree with you. This was a pretty tough card today from a baseball perspective. You're really just looking at Colonial from a horse racing perspective, and there's not a ton there that I love. So, yeah, this was a tougher card to face. The Padres got Yu Darvish on the mound. They are at home. They need this game a lot more than the Diamondbacks do at this point. They have not been playing their best baseball, but their bats have started to heat up a little bit the last couple of days. So hopefully they can keep that going. And like you mentioned, nice walk-off victory yesterday. Maybe we can use that momentum to kind of build off of it. Aaron, you're going to stay here in the NL West. I'm shocked neither of you picked the Cardinals, to be honest. That was I assumed someone was going to go that direction. But Aaron, you're going with the NL West here as well. Tell us a little about the Dodgers.
I was between the Dodgers and the Cardinals, believe it or not. Of course
you were.
Yeah. And I went, listen, I think Kershaw's going to shut them out tonight. Or this afternoon, I should say. It's an afternoon game. Yeah. So right after the U.S. Open, turn it over to the Giants and the Dodgers. And then after that one, you could turn it over to the Padres game, and it's a full day for everyone. Listen, I just think Kershaw is going to pitch a good game at home today. I think he'll shut out this Giants lineup. And if he doesn't shut them out, I don't think he's going to give up very many. I think the Dodgers are going to score. I'm expecting this to be like 5-2, 5-1, 6-1, 6-0, something like that. So yeah, I quote unquote kept it simple and played the Dodgers run line. I'm with you guys. I looked for a few kind of longer, underdogs, and this card is wacky in my opinion today. Yeah. So I went with a run line. Hopefully I don't regret it.
Yeah, you had a lot of big favorites in baseball.
Yeah.
I mean, you're looking at the Mets minus 260, the Yankees minus 205, Atlanta minus 292. You've got LAA minus 210, Seattle's minus 295, the Dodgers minus 250. It just, unless you really like one of these underdogs, it's tough to take any of these favorites unless you're playing a run line. So I totally understand why you guys ended up where you did. I went through it and I was like, I can't confidently trust any of these teams. That's why I ended up playing some tennis here to try and get a best bet home, and hopefully we can get it going here. The Dodgers have been absolutely on a roll as well. They won last night 6-3, and look, if anyone picks LA or Houston on the run line, I'm not going to knock you for it, because those two teams have been consistent all year getting the job done.
Yeah, we'll see.
I do.
Right, everybody, that's going to wrap up.
I want to mention one thing real quick.
Of course you do, Papa Dude. Did you watch Almost Famous?
Not yet. I don't know where to.
Then you can wait till tomorrow. No, go ahead.
No, I just was say, speaking of movies, our movie discussion, my Twitter has blown up. My Twitter, all these crappy bets I've been making, nobody ever says anything. But my Twitter has blown up over the movies. So I just wanted to mention that.
I'm telling you, man, movies and sandwiches, the most comments we've gotten on this show.
There you go.
those two things have stoked the fire of this audience more than anything else. I would say we'd go to books, but I don't think I've read a book very recently. That's just the spy novels, and that's not going to get any of the books. Yeah, it's just the spy novels. That's all from me. All right, guys, we're gonna head out here on a Wednesday, but we will be back tomorrow. Let's go over the best bets before we go. Aaron taking the Dodgers minus 1.5, minus 125. Papa Dude taking the Padres. We're trying to chase down the Dodgers minus 1.5, minus 105. I'm gonna go to the U.S. Open. I'm going to take Tifo and Rublev over 40.5 games here. Hopefully we can go to 5 sets. That one's on ESPN at 1:30 if you want a little afternoon action. Weekly record, obviously 0-0. Year-to-date, up $2,150 off our $100 base bets. Let's have a week this week. We had a rough one last week after 4 straight winning ones. Hopefully we can get on the right track. And I cannot wait for tomorrow for some NFL. We'll see you guys later. Thank you very much for joining us. See you tomorrow.